Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Beyond the Case, which is a podcast where global leaders from Harvard Business School's OPM community join in a personal capacity and they share the real decisions, failures, and mental models which go behind building enduring companies. Today's guest is Vishwajeet Vishnu. He has a very interesting background and story. I'm very excited to learn more about it from Vishwajeet. Welcome. And he was in OPM 67 with me. How are you, Vishwajeet?
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me, Sohan. I am doing awesome, great, and good morning to you and all your viewers.
Thank you. Vishwajeet, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you do, what company you work with?
Oh, yes, of course. So my name is Vishwajeet Vishnu, and I'm the managing director at Ear Solutions Private Limited. We run a chain of hearing clinics across India and the US. We have been in the hearing care business since almost 15 years now. And yes, we are one of the leading players in this industry.
Okay. I want to start off right away by focusing on your first day at Harvard Business School's OPM program. You shared a very emotional message after the first day with our entire WhatsApp group. You shared a video and spoke about returning to a classroom after dropping out from college. Can you
That's right.
take us back to the moment and walk us through what was going through your mind?
So the first day at OPM was very, very, how to say it, emotional for me because I had to drop out of my studies right after my 12th standard. I was studying in school here in India, in Delhi. My family was not economically sound, and then I decided not to study further to help my family, and I started working. That's how first I started working in a corporate, and then I went on to build my own business. I had to leave my full time education. So, all my education throughout these 15 years had been through either distance mode or workshops or trainings or reading books. I've read more than 500 books. But then I always had this thing that I did not go to a full time college, did not hear to the lectures, to the professors, did not get a chance to discuss with them and sit with people like me in the same classroom. So I always had this thing missing in me. And when I was there the first day, the emotional side of me was out there, thinking that, oh, I mean, life is like full circle. I mean, I had always been wanting to do this executive program, and what better than Howard, like one of the best in the world. So, and I really loved it. The peers that we had, all the co-participants, the professors, it was an amazing experience. And that's why I shared that that was my first college lecture ever attended in a university in Harvard.
Yeah, I think you got a very warm response from the group.
Of course, everybody. And then everybody came to meet me and then said hello and said, many of them said, you know what, that I did not miss a lot. I mean, despite not going to college, I had not missed a lot in my life. But then, yeah.
A lot of the people in the room are individuals at OPM who have either inherited a business, are second generation, or they've started something by themselves, but they might not have had economic challenges the way you described and have, been forced
Not a,
to give up on education. So when you were in that room on the first day and then through the rest of your Unit 1 journey at OPM, what was the feeling that you had? Was it pride? Was it an imposter syndrome? Was it gratitude? Or was it still disbelief?
So disbelief is something, I mean, there was definitely a part of disbelief that, oh, I can make it here. But then the peers, like the co-participants, they were so welcoming that you never felt that somebody comes from a royal background or somebody comes from an ancestry of like big business families and all. And I was the first generation entrepreneur. Everybody was so welcoming, always willing to give in. So for me, one is that I realized that it is possible to achieve anything in your life if you focus and if you take the right steps. So that ways I was feeling content. I saw many people who were like me. That gave me another confidence that if others can do it, I can do it. And we definitely had best of the best sitting with us. I mean, we can proudly say that. I mean, across 40 countries. And looking at them, learning from them, nothing seemed impossible, I would say. So the possibility, along with gratitude, of course, the possibility was so big that I mean, nothing seemed impossible now.
Okay. I want to go back to your early childhood and your journey of starting out initially.
Mhm.
You have shared with me over a lunch in New York that you
Yeah,
started call center, not at a boardroom. So can you walk us step by step through, what that professional journey looked like and
right. So
how you landed up on your solutions?
yeah. So, like I said, when I was in my school, my parents could not pay my school fees. And I was not allowed to write my school exams. So my whole class wrote their exams. I was the only one not allowed to write the exams. It was kind of pre-board exams. So and that had a big impact on my life, on me. So and then later on, the fees was paid. I was sitting in a library writing the exams alone. But that incident had a very, very huge impact on the way I lived life after that. I said to myself that life cannot go like this. I need to take charge and I need to get up, own this, and solve this, whatever it is. From there, I decided that, okay, I will get into entrepreneurship journey and I would make a difference. I would do something big. I had no clue what to do, which way to go. I mean, a schoolboy, just thinking something to be done, but had no idea that how this world works. In fact, I was not from a business family. My father was a government employee, lost his job, and that is where that was my family background. So that's where. So I started working in a corporate, but all those years I started 7, 8 businesses that didn't work or that failed. I started a call center. I started a bank account opening business. I started a cab service. I started a coaching business. I started a restaurant. So there were several types of businesses I started. A lot of things did not work. I was getting my salary, investing everything in the new business, burning everything, and like changing business when it didn't work. So that's how my life was in the initial stage. That's how accidentally I got in. I was a software guy, so I always wanted to build something in the software or do here. I was also working as an SAP consultant back then. But then uh, when I got into hearing industry, one of my cousins was working in the hearing industry and he introduced me to this industry. I went on to do an audiology program and that's how it started. The journey in audiology industry was like amazing. I'll tell you an incident from my life. But this is early years, okay, like 2011 or something. And I was riding on my motorcycle. I was visiting patients place to place, fitting them with a hearing aid, and that's how it started. So I went to a patient's place, my initial couple of patients, and I went to their home. And this guy is 26 years old, got married just 1 year back, and he had hearing loss since 10 years. Now, he was not able to hear properly. Husband and wife, they were not able to have a conversation at their home. They lived in joint family. In India, most of them, they lived in a joint family. And when I went there, I fitted them with the right hearing aid, tested them, and gave them a hearing aid. The husband and wife, they went inside the room, spoke to each other, came out, and asked us that, did you hear what we were saying? And all of us, like me, including their family members, said that no, we did not hear anything. Both of them had tears in their eyes. I had done 7, 8 businesses before this, but then this, I felt like I had a superpower. I did something and I changed somebody's life in front of me by doing something. And I felt like a Superman while I was riding my two-wheeler back home, back to the office. I felt like I don't know how I made this change or how I made somebody's life better. And that's when I decided that I will give all my life to this cause. I mean, this is something where really an impact needs to be done. And that's how I got into journey of hearing care. And since then, I have been doing this. I mean, I'll talk more about how I traveled from Delhi to London as well by road for hearing awareness. And that's one side of it, which I did later. But yes, I really enjoy doing this work.
You described it so well. You felt like Superman, and I think every entrepreneur does feel like that at some point, that they're wearing a cape, which comes with
Yeah.
a huge responsibility. Of course, if things don't work out, all the onus is on the leader, on the founder, right? So that pressure is a lot to bear at times. But when things click, when you see how your customers respond to a product you've built or a service you're offering, that makes all of it worth it.
Now, after 15 years, it feels that, oh, the journey might have been very good. But then back then, it was so turbulent. Like in the beginning, any business, you would understand that to set up a business, and things were so uncertain, and then failures, and then you had COVID in between, and then I had some bad partnerships. Several times it felt that the company is not going to last. We'll have to shut down or something. But then the perseverance is something that inner strength of going on is like the most important thing and entrepreneur processes, and that's what makes them successful. If you have that perseverance thing, you would find out a way, and that's, I would say, the most important trait of an entrepreneur.
Vishwajit, you mentioned in the beginning that you tried quite a few businesses and there were a lot of challenges and learning curves. Today, when you look back at your journey, could you think of certain life principles you aggregated from each of those moments to gather the strength to keep going, and how that benefited you in eventually landing on your current business and making it a success?
Right. So one of the core principles that I have, in fact, we have it in our organization, is integrity. It looks very simple. It feels very simple, but I would say it is one of the most, how do you say, the most important value one should pursue in order to be successful. We are all that we say. If I make a commitment to you and if I don't honor it, I hold no value to you or to this world. And that's what I am. That's what we are at Ear Solutions. During all the businesses that we had, so like I said, that we had several failure moments. It's our trueness which stood in our bad times, in our tough times, and took us up again. So when things were not working out, like in COVID, you had no money. You still have people, you have rents to pay, you have vendors to pay. Going back to them, explaining your situation, making a commitment, honoring them, that is the baseline, and that is what helped us jump back in. Like many businesses in COVID even failed. Even from our industry, many people were not able to revive that well. In fact, they had major losses and all. But then we feel that because we were true to all the stakeholders, to our customers, to our vendors, to our suppliers, everybody, that had a huge, I would say, upside on what we are today.
And the principles you mentioned, integrity being one of them.
Yeah.
Did you one fine day just sit down and say, hey, this is a principle? Or how did these principles come to you?
It's a very good question, because especially in small organization, I would say we talk a lot about culture, right? In the culture in the organization. And most of the time we think that some external consultant will come and guide us about what culture should be there, and we instill that culture in the organization. But that, unfortunately, that's not how it works. So especially in a small organizational setup, culture is more about how you think as an owner, how you behave, how you react to situations. And that's what your team is going to pick up and follow that, right? So it actually starts from the leadership, what you think, what you believe, how you react, what actions you take, and that is what becomes the culture of the organization. So you're right. It's not that a sudden morning I woke up and said that, hey, from today we'll be in integrity. It's not that. It happened over a period of time. Say, for example, you commit something to somebody, maybe a small thing, maybe a meeting time, you don't visit them on time, or say you'll say that you'll deliver a product in 7 days. You don't deliver in 7 days, you take it 15 days. And then you see the impact. And then you realize in your early years that how important it was. It was not just 7 days to 10 days delay. It was the overall impression of the organization, the overall trust that you lost. And in the process, it may be one transaction or it may be thousands of dollars worth of transaction. But that is what is, I found, to be the most critical. I mean, every small promise should be met. And gradually, when I started responding it with seriousness, I started instructing my team to follow it with seriousness, then it had a top to bottom dribble effect, and everybody started following the same culture and value in the organization.
Beautiful. Just to go more granular on the spark you had when you started this business, you
Mhm.
said you were introduced to this industry by a cousin.
Yeah.
Why do you think you, who started this business, who saw this opportunity and others missed it?
That you're right. I mean,
Just to add that you're an outsider to the industry. You were not born into this industry, right?
correct,
So you
correct.
first did the knowledge, and you did it not too long ago, maybe 5 or 10 years ago. So why are you here today and others are not? What did you see that others missed? And what gave you the confidence to act on the opportunity?
That you're right. I agree. So, like I said, a lot of people give up too quickly in their journey. So, one is that you definitely need to have faith in what you're doing. For example, I also dropped out of other 5, 6 opportunities. Like I said, maybe a great empire could have been built in such areas. Somehow, my heart did not connect with what I was doing. Now, here, one is that I saw the opportunity, the other is that my heart felt that this is something which I should be doing, and then perseverance over a longer period of time, because success doesn't come in a day, especially in a new business or so. The first 5, 7 years is too much of struggle, no matter which industry you are in. Most of the time, it is the case. And those 5, 7 years, it is not very easy for everybody to stay on their top, I would say, in their most motivated mindset for these 5, 7 years when things are not working. And that is what keeps you ahead of many people. Like Elon Musk says, if you work 16 hours a day, you are anyhow doubling your productivity than the other person, than your competitor. And like a year from now, you'll be 2 years ahead than them. So yes, I mean, I had that thing, I feel, and that helped me to stay at the top of my game.
When you look at your life today, what goes through your mind when you think back over the last few years?
Right. So one is that I am very, very content. So I told you about my early years. So we had lack of money. I told you about my education. I had lack of education. And these things were driving me. And these are not good drivers. So if your money drives you or if your lack of education drives you to somewhere, it's not good, because I always had this thing to learn more. Because I did not do a full-time graduation or I did not go to a university, I was on this hunt of exploration to know more, to learn more. I was getting into workshops, read a lot of books and all. And then when I was able to do a lot of things out there which I wanted, that's when slowly I started understanding that life is all about focus. Focus is one of the core strengths that we have. Whatever we focus on will manifest in our life. And we can make it work. So gradually now I understand that, hey, I mean, now I'm at a situation where I feel really content. It's not that I do not have ambitions. We do have ambitions. We are planning to build $1 billion company. We are on the journey. We have a lot of plans going on, but the stage where I am at, I don't feel that I'm missing something. I mean, I feel that I have enough education. I have a good family life. It is equally important to balance your work and your family life. I have a beautiful family, two sons, 8 and 3, and I love spending time with them. This is the time when they do all sort of naughty things at home, and you just want to be part of that and play with them at home. So I love spending time at home with them. Do travel a lot across the globe for my work and all. But yes, this is how I am today. And
You also shared with me recently that at some point you invested in business coaching with someone called Rahul Jain. Can you walk us through what was going through your mind that triggered this initiative on your part? Were you pursuing maybe a solution for a specific challenge, or was it a desire to grow internally as a leader?
I would say both, but in fact, I would take a step back and I would like to say mentors are really, really important in your journey. So, a lot of us, we try to solve things on our own. Say, for example, you're riding a car on a highway, the car breaks down. What would you do? Would you like to take out a book, read how to repair this car, and get on the job? Or would you like to call a mechanic and ask that, hey, my car broke down, what should I do? Or can you come down? Right? So, we miss the importance of mentors in our life. I truly believe that the journey which I had in 15 years, if I would have had mentor from day one, I could have done this in maybe 5 years. I would have saved 10 years of my life. So yes, talking about Rahul Jain, going to him, I mean, I had no clue what I'm going to get there. It's just that I wanted to grow my business. I wanted to learn more, and my operations was all chaos. Like, you don't know what if my orders are going on time, if every commitment is getting fulfilled. If so, the business was all chaos. I had to manage everything. If my shipment is arriving on time or not, many a times I would pick up call and follow up with the courier guy. That was my life back then. I knew that these are the challenges. So I define my business pre Rahul Jain and post Rahul Jain. So post Rahul Jain,
What year you approach him? Which year?
that was 2020, I believe, the COVID year. In fact, one of the most uh, crucial or critical years in the business life. So yes, so pre-COVID, it was life was different, all chaos. And 2020, when I did this, we were all set. I would say. I mean, our operations are set. Every transaction is tracked. Every like we are into retails. From if it we talk only about India, we have people making payments from 26 different countries. We are doing home visits, so you don't know where the payment is coming from, where the products are. Everything is tracked. Every transaction, everything happens on time. We have plan, actual MIS system for everybody in the company. So it is so smooth now that I spend most of my time, 80% of my time, only on growth and expansion. Earlier, it was 80% on operations, and I could barely get any time for expansion and strategic work. Now I spend most of my time only on strategic work, expansion, like that we expanded to the US market now, and we're building a great network of hearing care in the US, which is working pretty well for us.
How do you think about the cost of joining a program like the one you did with Rahul Jain and the ROI for it? Do you think it was worth it for you?
Of course, ROI is not a question at all. So most of the time, people say that we don't have time. or the money, for example. But I would say that the amount of money that you make only during the program is way more multiple than what you would have given him. So it's totally worth it. Also, the time. So, say for example, you may need to invest half a day from 1 week. So every week it's like half a day, and then he works throughout the year on your business to streamline every department one by one. But this half a day, if you invest, many people spend like 6 days in office. But if you invest this half day for a few months, you are all set. Then you can manage your whole business working just 1 day in a week, and rest everything is done. So the money and the time is totally worth it, no question asked.
What problems did success create for you or your business that going through a journey of struggle never create? More money, more problems.
I won't call it a problem like money or success, not in the terms of problem, but yes, it brings in a lot of responsibility. So, like, there are more than 200 people working with us. Earlier, like I said, it was all about me. If I can survive, if I can make enough money, if I can get this. Now you don't think about what is happening to you. Now it's about, are you giving growth to your people? Growth is important to their life. They would stay with you only if they grow in their life. Not only stay with me, they would feel content. They would be happy only if they are on that growth path with you. So having a vision, having a strong vision, aligning the team, keeping everybody on top of their game, getting them what they need, like getting them the journey that they need, it is more of a responsibility, and but also a feeling that I truly love.
Then what made you apply to OPM, or how did you learn about OPM initially?
I I always wanted to go to Harvard since my school. So when I was in school for my undergrad program, I was applying to all these Ivy League universities. I was applying to Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard. So that thing was always there. But then imagine if I could not pursue my regular undergrad from India, how could I have paid my fees and all for all these big institutions? So that something was missing from my life, and that spark was already there. Now I had moved ahead in my life. Now undergrad or normal MBA programs were not valid for me because we're too ahead in our life to go back to those full-time programs. But then I wanted to understand what these best institutions in the world teach you. I mean, you always hear, Google CEO is from Harvard. Barack Obama was from Harvard. So what is different that these universities have to tell you that the regular universities don't? I mean, I agree that one thing is that their entry criteria is so high that only the best of the best gets into the university as well. That's also true. But despite that, you have so many people, billionaires, you have people doing amazing work in their businesses, in their jobs, in politics, in philanthropy. So I always wanted to go on the other side, experience it for myself, and I wanted to bring that side of me out so that I can create a huge impact on this world. And that's how, while you search for executive education, I don't think that there's anything better than OPM that we could find in today's state. I mean, there are several programs, but many of them focus on one specific side. Mostly, sometimes, it's marketing, sometimes it is for CEOs and all, but especially designed for business owners like us. I would say this is one of the most relevant program for us, and I was lucky to find it and apply it and get through it.
The next generation will say Vishwajeet Vishnu is from Harvard.
Yeah, yes, the Howard definitely brings the brand name that it has. I mean, the brand name attracts best of the best from the world. And then, I mean, it is definitely a matter of pride, no doubt. I mean, my LinkedIn says Howard Business School today.
Is there a case, a professor, or a takeaway from Harvard which has hit you the hardest that you want to talk about?
Yes, so there's no point comparing, I would say. All the professors were like best of the best. I mean, there's no doubt about that. The way they delivered the cases and the way we discussed and the energy that we had in the class was like enormous, superb. I mean, there's no comparison to that, of course. For me, I mean, everybody was awesome. Professor Das was one of the best. But then I loved the most the negotiation part, the negotiation lecture by Professor Deepak Malhotra, because I truly felt connected with what was being taught, and I could bring it, and then I could use it in my daily life in negotiations and all. And the takeaway was that value has to be created on both the parts. Negotiation is not something that I snatch something more from you. Negotiation is about how both the parties win. And it completely shifted my perspective. Negotiation feels like if you will have more, then I'll have less. This is what was different in the whole conversation, that negotiation is not one side or the other. It's how both sides could optimize most of the value out of that deal. And it was amazing.
What would you say to someone listening who feels like they are behind in life?
You are no different than me, like me a few years back. So I truly feel if I can do this, all of you, most of us, we can do this. It is only a matter of focus and perseverance. Being true, like the integrity thing, it's the baseline. But everything is achievable. Never give up on your dreams, on your vision. Many a times, naysayers will come and tell you that it is not possible, it cannot be done. What actually they are saying is they cannot do it. So better don't listen to them. Focus on what you really believe, focus on what your vision is, and you would for sure achieve whatever you think. Everything is possible so far you are on it.
Talk to me about a book. You mentioned you've yourself learned in a lot of ways as well. So a book or two maybe which has influenced you a lot.
So in fact, I've written a book as well, but I've written a book on hearing industry. So how to manage hearing clinics. I've written a book, and then I have, I'm a TED speaker. I've given a TED talk. I have traveled from Delhi to London for hearing awareness. So this was a 2-3 months journey on the road, and I was creating awareness, visiting a lot of colleges on the way, attending programs throughout the world, and trying to bring in what this world has in hearing industry back to India, because India, the infrastructure was not that developed. So that was my idea when I traveled from Delhi to London. In fact, even when I was at HBS, one of my core agenda of going to HBS was that in India, roughly 9 crore people. So 9 crore is how many? 90 million. So in India, 90 million people suffer from hearing loss, and not even 2% get the treatment for hearing loss. Now, all the big giants, big companies that manufacture a hearing aid, manufacture it for the elites, as in they mainly make it for the Western world, which can only be afforded by the top 1 to 3% population of India. The bottom 97% of people cannot even afford a good hearing aid. Now, we do have so many people who can use a hearing device, but there is no right fit product for them. So one of my core thought in my background at HBS was what I can do to make this change, to have a huge impact on such a big population in India who cannot hear, and they do not even have a right solution. So yes, these are the things I've done. Now coming to your question about the books, like I said that I've read several books, and at different stages of my life, I would say I picked up the right book, which has helped me as a mentor. I always vouch for reading more and more books. Like I tell people to read more books. And one of the logic behind that is, say today, if you get a chance to sit and speak with Mahatma Gandhi, how would you like it? Or leave Mahatma Gandhi, Steve Jobs was my hero. If I get an opportunity to sit and speak with Steve Jobs, I mean, that would be the day of my life, right? Mm-hmm. And now imagine if I sit with Steve Jobs, what will he say to me? He will say most likely the things that he has written in his book, because those are the things he wanted to be out in the world. So these books gives you an opportunity to sit with the people, read about them, know them, and it's just like talking to them. I mean, that's how books comes to life when I read it. So now coming to the books, when I was in my 12th standard, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Robert Kiyosaki became my hero, like the financial thing, the real estate investing and all those things. And I manifested that maybe someday I could meet this guy. And you know what? Like a year and a half back, Robert Kiyosaki visited to India. I was invited to meet him, and I sat with him. I spoke to him. It was the day of my life, Robert Kiyosaki. And like several books on the go, Alibaba, like the autobiography of Jack Ma is amazing how he built Alibaba. There are a couple of finance books. There's a guy called Anil Lamba, and he has written a book called Romancing the Balance Sheet. And it's an amazing book because finance is one of the core things for businesses. And most of us do not understand finance that well, or at least what numbers to keep in check or what numbers to look at. And he makes it so easy for all of us in his book. It is amazing. I would definitely recommend his book.
Great. Vishwajit, this has been a wonderful conversation. I'd like to end it on that note, and I appreciate your time. If there's anything else you want to add, now's the chance.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting me to the podcast. You are doing an amazing, amazing job. I know that at HBS, everybody, all of us, we have a story to share. And I'm very thankful to you that you're bringing them out, you're putting them out in the world. Good for all of us, the OPMers, as well as the general public, like they can listen and they can take their value out of this conversation. So thank you very much, Sohin, for doing this. You're doing an amazing job. You yourself are a well accomplished entrepreneur. I see the great work that you do out there in New York. I've heard a lot about it, and so great that you're taking out time still to do this. Thank you very much.
That. Thank you, Vishwajit.
Okay.